Welcome, listeners near and far, to the Pima County Democracy Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We are stronger together, and we are especially grateful to our subscribers and those who share our content. From the Walking the Walk series to the Legislative Review, from democracy on the front lines to 2 Minutes of Truth. Let's get started with this episode of 2 Minutes of Truth. The Party of Lincoln? Please. Republicans love to call themselves the Party of Lincoln. They plaster his face on their banners, invoke his name in speeches, and act like they're the natural heirs to his legacy. But let's be real. If Abraham Lincoln walked into a modern GOP fundraiser, he'd be called a radical leftist and shown the door. Lincoln, after all, was the man who declared that government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. The modern Republican Party, on the other hand, seems hell-bent on making sure that government is run by the few, for the few, and if necessary, by gerrymandering, voter suppression, and outright election denial. The GOP's claim to Lincoln's legacy would be laughable if it weren't so historically dishonest. After the Civil Rights Movement, Republicans struck a deal with the racist core of the New South, swapping their historical commitment to freedom and democracy for the electoral bounty of white resentment. This was the so-called Southern strategy, where Republicans abandoned their identity as a party of emancipation and became the party of backlash, and that backlash endures. Lincoln believed in America where all men are created equal. Today's Republicans believe in an America where some votes count more than others, some citizens have more rights than others, and where equality is a dirty word, unless it's being used to argue that corporations are people too. Let's not mince words. The modern GOP has abdicated democracy itself. They attempt to overturn legitimate elections. They stack courts with ideological extremists, and they pass laws making it harder for poor people and people of color to vote. They cry fraud without evidence and then use these cries to justify further eroding democratic principles. This is not the work of Lincoln's party. It is the work of his opponents. So let's retire this Party of Lincoln nonsense. You don't get to wave Lincoln's banner while undermining the very democracy he died to preserve. If today's Republicans want to claim a 19th century political ancestor, they should look to someone more in line with their ideals. They are the party of Jefferson Davis. But Lincoln? No. He belongs to the ages and to true Americans who still believe in government of the people, by the people, and for the people.